Hey everybody, welcome back and thanks for watching Tactical Weapon Combat Ready. In this video, we're actually going to be talking about another YouTube channel, Garand Thumb. He just did a video on the RM277 bullpup rifle that was actually competing for the next generation squad weapon military contract. And this video really just proves my point that I was making in a couple of my earlier videos, where I think that the military was making a mistake by going with the Sig. Now, really quick, the Sig Spear, it's an excellent weapon. I don't have anything against that rifle platform. I think it is a really good rifle. The only thing is, it really isn't bringing anything new or unique or next generation onto the table that we don't already have. Basically, you're taking an AR-10 platform and then just creating a different cartridge for it, which there's some validity to the cartridge that they created, where it's kind of a hybrid, where it has the steel backing and then the brass front end. So we're allowed to get higher pressures and things like that and achieve that higher velocity that the Army was really wanting to achieve. But besides that, it's a platform that is basically the AR, the M4 style platform, just bigger with a different caliber. So personally, I don't see any reason to actually go with the Sig Spear. If you want to take the cartridge, you think that's a good cartridge, okay, that's a different story. But the firearm itself, what benefit does that bring that we aren't already able to use? So right here, I have two different firearms, both of which have been possible competitors for some military contracts. This is the Robinson Armament XCRL. This was actually with the SCAR program. And then this is the Desert Tech MDRX, which was actually in the next generation squad weapon competition for that contract. But obviously both of these lost. Now both of these I think are better options than what was actually chosen. So the Robinson Armament for the SCAR, I think it's better than the SCAR. It has a lot more features that just outperform the SCAR in general. And then, I mean, even now we kind of have a little bit more information why the SCAR kind of failed so much. And it looks like a lot of it had to do with just the military brass or whoever's doing the analysis or, running these tests or creating the criteria that they wanted. Seems like they may not have known what they were talking about. Like with the SCAR, they wanted the reciprocating side charging handle, which obviously almost anyone that's, shoots guns regularly would be like, why did you choose a side reciprocating charging handle? That doesn't make any sense. So anyway, so I'm just kind of using this as an example of, I think they've made mistakes in the past with the SCAR, and obviously the SCAR is, I mean, nobody even uses that anymore, and it's just now a super expensive firearm, a weapons platform. Now with the MDRX, this is really similar to the RM227. Is it MR227? That Garand Thumb did a review on. And just watching that video, you can see all the benefits that we would get from that platform versus the Spear, which again, it's basically what we already have. And so I got into the comment section and I made a comment, and so I've been replying to a bunch of people where I said, sarcastically, I said, this is proof that somebody was bought off and chose Sig. So somebody was paid off. But anyway, just watching his video, I think validates my concerns and my reasoning for going for a bullpup or one of these other designs, where the 227 rifle, bullpup rifle, you have a shorter length, you have the longer barrel, you have less recoil. You're not using that new cartridge, the hybrid cartridge, which has, I think it's 80,000 PSI to achieve the velocity that they're trying to get, which is the, the high 2,000 and, 3,000 range for velocity that they're trying to achieve. Running that super hot round, that seems like One, I feel like that cartridge might malfunction, might have failures just because we're putting more pieces together and a lot of high pressure that might actually rupture a little bit. And then just the wear and tear on the gun, that much pressure going into the barrel and chamber, it's got to wear those parts out much quicker. Plus, I mean, I'm sure that the amount of heat that it is producing is going to be more than what you would typically get with the pressures that we're currently running with. So the bullpup design allowed for us to utilize kind of technology that we already have that is somewhat proven, but then still achieve the end goals that we were actually looking for. Then you throw in a couple of the other features, the open bolt or closed bolt options to actually fire. That is a huge benefit, especially if we're shooting at high rates of fire, where, and then Garand Thumb explained it, where, you know, in whatever instance it was, where they were overheating their rifles because they were shooting so much. Well, with that open bolt, it's going to allow for the barrel to reduce some of that heat transfer and actually help it cool off better. So that means less wear and tear, better heat transfers, where we're not actually heating up the barrel as much. And that's just going to be beneficial just in the long run, just with wear and tear, and then actual operating and use when we are in those like super desperate situations where we're just having to run the gun all the time. Then we look at, we're getting the velocity we want with the caliber that we want, and the recoil management that they were able to achieve on that rifle was just amazing. And you know, even they were like super surprised and super happy about it. But in order, I mean, getting that amount of control full auto on a caliber that size with that much energy, it really is impressive. So I don't know what happened or why they decided to go this other route. Now, a lot of people in the comment section on my comment were saying, well, you know, it'll be a logistics nightmare. Well, the Sig Spear, you're going to have a logistics nightmare on that too, because you're changing out the majority of parts we already have. I mean, we're talking, you know, muzzle devices might stay, the fire control group might stay, but come on, we're not going to be switching out all the current fire control groups, the triggers and all that, and then putting them into the new Sig. It's all going to be brand new. So we're getting rid of all that anyway. So it's going to be a logistics nightmare, whichever platform you go with. And then even with that, I mean, a lot of these excuses that they're using is the exact same excuses people were using when the M16 was first introduced, but that led the way to the modern M4, which is a great platform as well. But we should be moving beyond that. We should be going on to something better, just like we did with the M16. We now need to move on to something better, hence next generation. So then there was also, oh, well, the ergonomics are different from the AR platform or the M4 platform. Well, if that's the case, then just keep the current M4, change out the caliber. That's all you got to do. So, and then if that's the case, why switch to the M16? There's obvious benefits to it. And if it's just, well, I'm not comfortable with it because I'm used to using the M4, well, so what? Train. And if you're any good with a firearm, it would take a couple hours of training to get it. And then if you're just implementing it in your regular training, it's not going to take you long at all to become comfortable with the bullpup platform. So there really is no excuse for that, unless you think that our military and our soldiers are so inept that they can't figure out how to deal with a bullpup. I think that's ridiculous. So the bullpup, we shouldn't have any training issues. And then most people that actually enter into the military don't know how to use the M4 anyway. So you're just training them to use a platform that they're not familiar with, and they weren't familiar with the M4, so there's no difference. Okay, so no learning curve, no learning nightmare, anything like that. Then people were saying, well, Sig is a bigger company, so they're able to produce the product in mass much better. And there's a point to that, but the only thing is, the reason Sig is so big is because they have been rewarded or awarded military contracts in the past. So they were able to expand their production and expand their facilities and their tooling and everything like that. If Sig hadn't got all these military contracts, they wouldn't be a big small arms manufacturer anyway. So to say they can't handle it because they're smaller, well, then why did Sig get their original bids, for their contracts? If you take one of these, you give them the contract, they'd get a lot of money, and they would just expand. And then I think in the MR277 a rifle, I think Beretta was actually going to help produce that. So they would be able to, handle that load, no problem. Plus, I mean, they're American companies. So you're getting that American company building. And so that way, I mean, kind of like what Israel did with IWI, they produce and manufacture their own military service weapons. We should do that too. I think that would be a smart idea. And then another comment, which this one also, I do agree with it to a point, but nope, not really, is they were saying, well, with a brand new design, you're going to have problems. There's going to be failures. There's going to be issues, and kinks are going to have to get worked out, and the Army doesn't have to deal with that. Well, the thing with that is any new product is going to have some kinks when it first comes out, and they're going to work themselves out, just like with the M16.
Some new rifles, too, the M16.
Oh, that's supposed to be a pretty good weapon.
Lots of plastic. Feels like a BB gun to me. Please don't stick with my pistol.
You think we're going to get close enough to the enemy to use that?
What do you think, sir?
Gentlemen! Prepare to defend yourselves!
That had a bunch of problems. They worked it out, and now they created, and now it evolved into the M4, and now we have a great weapons platform. Vehicles, the wheel, they had problems when it first came out, but we figured it out and made it better than any option that we had before. So the the M16 eventually became much better than what we were using prior to that. Just like this stuff. Yeah, there's going to be some issues, and that goes with, our airplanes, our fighter jets, our tanks, our vehicles, all that. But in order for us to progress and get better, we are going to have to go into something and work it out. We have to go into something new. Otherwise, we're just going to stick with the M4 platform, and it's going to be like what Russia's doing right now, which like they have the AK-47, AK-74, and then they are like the new AK-12. It's just an AK. It's not anything special. They didn't do anything innovative, or they didn't really improve upon it that much to actually make it into the next generation rifle. It's just staying what it already is. So there really isn't any benefit to the cost and to the changing everything out, because it's still just an AK. That's what the Sig Spear is, in my opinion. It's still just an M4 platform, and there's no real benefits to it. It doesn't add anything to what we already have. So that's where I'm thinking bullpup is the way to go. It offers us the longer barrel, the better velocity, the lower pressure, the lower recoil. Then, I mean, the cartridge that they created, which has the polymer casing, that's going to help reduce the temperatures and the heat transfers and everything like that. And then it's going to make the ammunition lighter. So then we're going to be able to carry more ammunition. There's just so many benefits to it. Yes, there's going to be some problems, but we're going to work them out just like we would with any new design, with anything that we do, whether it's vehicles, planes, firearms, pistols, rifles, whatever it is, boots, zippers. I don't care what it is. If it's something new, but it has the potential to be better, there's always going to be a little bit of a learning curve where we're like, okay, hey, we need to make this little tweak and make this a little bit better. And then by the end of it, we have an awesome product that far outperforms what we had previously. So the AR platform, I think, has just reached its peak, and there's no real way for it to get past it. The only thing is caliber changes, and that's all we got left. So I think we need to move on to the next generation for real and actually start producing something that is going to get us much more benefit in the long run, even if we have to work at it a little bit. So anyway, yeah, I guess that's just my little rant. I think bullpup is the future, and it boggles my mind why the MR277 wasn't picked, especially after what we just saw with Garand Thumb. The only downside, I think, is that potato suppressor, but even that's growing on me. So that's not even that big of a deal. But yeah, I mean, that's my 2 cents on it. What do you guys think? Comment below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, we'll see you later.